This is still March 11th, 2026. I told you, at the last few weeks, where a year ago they started back up, they were going to be going after the case, that they were going to get it thrown out, and on the basis of that agent defrauding me. They started in 2019, that agent defrauded her. He told on her before he called, she spoke to him after the hotline. That's a big legal loophole. Okay, then he didn't pay her. Another loophole. He bullied her. And they kept saying it. And where they kept saying it was so funny, I didn't know what they were doing. I didn't know what was going on. Then how they framed me, how they drugged me and told me to say stuff, how they photoshopped the shower scene, they photoshopped all their lies. I mean, it was onset of ridiculousness. Just going on and on and on. But it's so funny she doesn't know what we're doing. And then they said in 22, they were exposing corrupt law enforcement in this area publicly, and they set up that agent to be arrested. And then last year that they were going to get the case thrown out because he defrauded me. That he told on me. He didn't have the authority to ask me to stay quiet, and then he's already told. He never paid her, and he left her there. He was defrauding her the whole time. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, and that they were going to get the case thrown out, every drug cartel released. You can't use fraud. He had no right around her. Just like these people had no right around me, and it was fraud what they did. And you can't use fraud. And that every drug cartel released, and that they were going to sue the government for millions of dollars, extended amount of money for false arrest under fraud. You can't use fraud. You can't use surveillance fraud. She's either a paid informant and he defends her, or he was defrauding her the whole time, and you can't use fraud. So now they are going hot and heavy after Agent John to be arrested. March 5th, 26, down in the Bell store. I was in there several times. First time I was in there, guys come in and said, we found out they're stealing for Katie's family. None of this is funny. Then there was ladies in there later, and they were saying how they're sending out emails of that agent bullying me. Of, you say you're lying or else I'll arrest you. Say you're lying or else. And then cackling evil at me, that it sounded like pure evil. And then him saying no one's to help me, no one's to believe me. And that he can't do that. No, it's obstruction of justice, tampering with evidence, tampering with witness. It's also blackmail. An agent can never tell a victim, an informant, or a witness they can't say anything. It is a federal crime that's considered blackmail. Obstruction of justice, tampering with a witness. And that they paid him off. And they had already witnessed against him to get him arrested. They were going hot and heavy after Agent John. And then they're going to go after the case, and then the release, and then lawsuits. Does this affect me? No. I still stay in the witness protection program. These people try to kill me, and they could wait and try to kill me again. A judge signed it. So them going after Agent John and the government, it doesn't affect me. It would be nice to get my money, though. I'll be honest. I earned it. I was raped. I was tortured. My skull bashed in. My intestines are damaged from being beat so many times in my stomach. Large pouching. I have damaged rib cage. I also, they induced vomiting until I lost 70 pounds. I lived through complete horror. I was human trafficked, beat with internal injuries. I have a damaged rib cage, a damaged shoulder, all this from the case. I lived through hell. So getting my money, I like my oldest son, John. He started a church. He had told me when the case started, God laid it on his heart to be a minister. And after Melissa pulled that mean stunt of sneaking in his house, hiding after she dropped off the kids, waited for him to come out of the bathroom, and then lunged at him screaming, it startled him. So he shoved her, something coming at you, you'll shove it. Now I got you. Had him arrested domestic violence. That's not domestic violence. She should have been arrested for breaking and entering. A year later, he tried to get me to watch the kids as a reliable name on a court record. That to pick up Kenzie Carrington and Noah. I was working 2 jobs. I couldn't afford to quit one. I didn't get off the first one, let alone the second one. And one of the jobs only made like $10 an hour. I was barely making it. And I kept telling him that I'm so sorry. But Mom, these are my kids. I said, John, I don't make it. Now, I can't afford to quit one. I'd lose both. I won't be able to afford my apartment. He pleaded with me to be a reliable name on the court record. And I couldn't help him. He lost his kids. He moved to Florida. He met this woman that he's married to now. They got married and they started their own church. I like my money. I'd like to help his little church. I am so proud of him. I like to help Joshy. I like to help Crystal get a decent car to go to college. She's going to be a nurse. And I'd like to help Danny's family since they took on a big debt, trying to help Carl so he could still go down and look at his farm and enjoy it, where these people already confessed they incited his son Rick to threaten to kill him to take his farm and terrorized us because they wanted it. Mary's family, Katie's family wanted it. Well, they didn't get it. So, I mean, it would be nice. And I'll tell you what, Officer Mark, Officer John, Agent John, whoever is sending out those emails of you bullying me, and the lady said on March 5th, 26 at Bell Store on Route 800 in Magnolia, that it's even taped over and been altered, that police evidence has been altered. But the evil laugh that you had sounded like pure evil. Where say you're lying or I'll put you in jail, say you're lying or I'll arrest you. You hear me, I'll come up and put you in jail. They said that. And you cackling at me. They also, with the email saying no one's to help her, no one's to believe her, that's a federal crime. You cannot withhold protection from any U.S. citizen in any jurisdiction. It's a federal crime. Where the police said you were only acting that way to get that drug dealers to fool them. They are using it against you to be arrested. You do need to find out who is sending those emails and who was in the Tuscarawas County Courthouse September 10th, 25. They said it was Agent John trying to get his own case thrown out. Bad-mouthing me. Nobody thought it was funny. They have already got these people to witness against Agent John that he took a payoff to bully me and to let all this happen. They are going after him hot and heavy. None of this is funny. But if case does get thrown out for being fraud, it doesn't affect me anyway. If he goes to jail, it doesn't affect me. If the prisoners get released, it doesn't affect me. If they sue the government for millions of dollars, it doesn't affect me. I still stay in the witness protection program. These people try to kill me, and they could wait and try to kill me again. I can never get out. So their little craziness is nothing but craziness. You know, last year, around June 13th, June 14th, I was telling Carl, my new husband, about Melissa's mean stunt and about John moving to Florida. We went to go in Katanas. People pulled in and said, her son John's been in Florida for years. Who's that riding around with him? Asking people to harm her and saying he's John. And my son John would never ask anybody to harm his mother or be part of having me drug, beat, and raped. and tortured, skull bashed in. My son is not a killer. He would never be part of that. Around that time, June 13th, June 14th of 25, at night while I'm at work, I hear somebody outside. If John's been in Florida, who have I been talking to? They had somebody impersonate him. They had somebody impersonate my mother. Right before the case started, we had went to an outing at Apostolic Church of Barberton. I sat down with Dave's sister-in-law, Barb. His brother, Jerry, came up and said, "What do you expect after what your mother did?" I said, "What did my mother do? She lived in Illinois since '03. He said, '03. I said, 15 years. What would my mother have done? 15 years. I said, 15 years. What would my mother have done? He got up and left. An investigator said, I went to Jerry, asked him what on earth did Karen's mother do. Said Dave showed up with a little old lady, said that was her mother, and was bad-mouthing her to everyone. They had someone impersonate me on September 17th or 18th of 18 up at Advanced America. Cost me a job. The district manager had sent me to another store for an interview. And when I got home, I was talking to my mom. It was raining. I tried to get off because there was a long driveway and the mailbox was across the street. Dave calls me, "Why won't you go in the house?" And I went, "Dave, you home?" He's like, "No, I am at work." I said, "Dave, that's not funny. I'm looking around. There's no one there. There's nothing tracing me on my phone. Our outside cameras," and we only had outside cameras, was to the front porch, back porch, side yard. So he couldn't even see me at the end of the driveway. I said, "Dave, that's not funny." He said, "I know you're at the end of the driveway. Why won't you go in the house?" I said, "That's not funny." And he calls me, the district manager, and, "What's your problem?" Starts screaming at me. I said, "You sent me to the other store." She screams at me so bad I scream back and I hang up. I call my mom back. She said, "He's up to something." I said, "I know he is." So the next day I didn't say anything. I got dressed and I went up there and wanted to meet the person who cost me that job. And she's sitting there with the assistant manager. Said, "Well, you know, Karen," he said, "I've never met this woman before in my life." "Well, what you said, I know what I said, and it wasn't her." I looked at her, I said, "I've never been here before." She said, "But what you said, I know what I said, and it wasn't her." I said, "I've never been here before." He said, "I've never seen this woman before in my life." I looked at him, I said, "By the way, I'm Karen, it's nice to meet you." "Well, she tried to give me my job back, but it was wrong." So they've had people impersonate people. They have impersonated the FBI. They have impersonated police officers, retired judges, and to pull off the scam. And this thing where they say, "Oh, there's an attorney doing this," give me the first and last name of the attorney's office. I will let the Bar Association know. They will call for the arrest the first day, lose their license. You know, where they say, "Oh, an attorney's going after," they can't go after you. It's ridiculous. It's right on Google. If attorney has you stalked, harassed, tries to get you to lose your job, it's 1 to 5 years federal. It's a federal crime. You want to go there? It can even be longer. They can't interfere in your life. They can't go to your boss. They can't go to your neighbors. They can't interfere in your life at all. They're only to represent you in a courtroom as a defense. And at the laws that would protect you either way. See what I mean? They can't stalk you. They can't harass you. They can't go to the police. They can't do any of this. They can't go to your employers. They can't go to hospitals. They can't go to doctor's offices. You know, in a personal injury where it has to be your injury. Only yours. Like in the dog bite, you have to sign consent, picture ID. The hospital and the doctor's office has to have a signed consent, picture ID, and then call and hear verbally record you that you give consent for just the dog bite or the injury. And they have to be your attorney. They can't give opposing attorneys any information. It's a federal crime. See how dumb these people are? They are so dumb, they make your head hurt. If people would stop falling for the scam of Lighthouse, it's absolutely ridiculous. And it's nothing but a scam. Yesterday in Bob Evans, there was some lady said some big guys showed up, told everybody to leave her alone. Well, I wonder if those are the guys that said they were from the Department of Justice around Christmas of 24 and was telling people, leave me alone. They knew that agent stole my money. And it was ridiculous. These people were threatening to steal my dog bite money. Said they won't steal a dime from her. We could hear her scream through the car speakers. She got in. We could see pictures of her being all bit up from that dog. They won't get a dime from her. And found out it's that agent stealing her money. This whole thing. And yeah, was going on and on. So it's probably them. Well, see, that's where, and then they were complaining about Katie, that girl that works in that jewelry store in the mall. I seen her the other day. That heavy set one that's not much to look at. Oh, they were really insulting her. She thinks if she tells somebody's husband that their wife was mean to him or did something or crossed him anyway, that they need to make it up to her. Who does she think she is? And then have that husband harm his wife? Who does she think she is? Those women in that church are afraid to cross her because she'll have their husband do something to him. She thinks she's God Almighty. That's who she thinks she is. She thinks she's God Almighty because she sleeps with the minister's son. She thinks she is God on this earth and everybody's to kiss her fat ass. That's who she thinks she is. Her and her pathetic family. And shame on all you people for helping out for that girl. Shame on all you. You know, in 03, when Linda, my sister, was following her husband, Tim is my brother-in-law, which is Strange's son. They had been cheating for a couple years, and Linda knew it, and she didn't have enough courage to say anything. It's probably a good thing she didn't. It probably would have just killed her. But she kept following him. And I don't understand it, but I don't know if it was some kind of break or what, but she went where she had to follow him or have somebody follow him. I don't understand if you're not going to say anything. But that's how she was dealing with it. She came up to me and told him again, I got caught. I think they thought it was you. I'm sorry. Be careful. Well, Strange took my son Danny, pushed him to suicide by the next service. Made up that line, calling me a faker when it was a medication error, medical malpractice, and fraud. Okay? And he knew that. And it took me 9 months to get well. So I had nothing to do with him. My kid was in counseling for 2 years, 6 months. I couldn't leave him alone. I had to hire babysitters, had to go out and get a full-time job with insurance. He had tutoring, counseling 3 times a week. It was horrible. My wonderful neighbors and the people I work with helped me watch him so I could work. And then he had a psychiatrist he had to go to. Had to be on medication for a while. And he got down to 118 pounds at 6 foot. They almost had to hospitalize him. He was diagnosed with post-traumatic syndrome. Couldn't remember half the day. I didn't even think about them drugging him until this case. So I never wanted to see those people again. 2010, I was working at Walmart on West Husk. I met Terry. She invited me out to church. And I had her ask Dave to make sure it was all right. Because in the apostolic religion, those men own those women. Okay? And he said I could go. I was going down there for a while. Danny and Jen started going. Her mom. A bunch of other people started coming. Okay. And then by 2011, people started saying crazy crap. I mean crazy crap. Crazy stories, you name it. And it's like, where on earth is this coming from? And here are people that I haven't seen, haven't talked to in 7 years, 8 years, making up stuff on me behind my back. That's where I went to walk with Frances. I said, Frances, go for a walk with me. I said, where are these people getting this? She said, Mary hates you. I said, how could Mary hate me? I haven't seen her in 8 years. She started laughing. She went, is that what's going on? I went, what's going on? You don't know? No, what? She's like, never mind. I hate that game. Hmm? Well, Dave came home from church one night, beat me and sexually assaulted me until I was bloody. And time I broke free of him, I'm crying. Why? You'll learn to keep your filthy mouth shut. I said, filthy mouth shut. Danny just left with the kids an hour ago. And I've been sitting here watching TV. What are you talking about? He looked like he was going to puke. Okay. We went to walk in Macy's and Belden. I said, Dave, are you cheating with that girl? And we're by the purses. Can she hear down the mall? No. Said, I'd rather kiss a cow's butt than that fat, ugly heifer. Why giggle at his mean joke? I said, Dave, are you cheating with that girl? He said, Karen, she's pathetic. Making up stories for people's attention, for them to feel sorry for. She's nothing but pathetic. Making up that a married man would leave his wife for her. Now, can she hear down the mall? No. The only way she'd ever find out that he told that mean joke, and I dared laugh, was if he told her. Because they were planning on trying to kill me one day. Trying to use excuses. Told you before, and then I told you he quit his church in 2011, 2012. But before that, I think in like 2011, she walked by, hi. Just acknowledge her. But after he quit his church, we walked on the other side of the kiosk. We made sure we didn't say anything when we walked by, so she couldn't say we said anything. And here I found out that crazy girl was lying again, telling people I threatened her. I hadn't even talked to her since 2011. I only said hi to her. Why would I threaten her? I mean, she made up crazy stories in 2011 that I came home, found her in bed with Dave, chased her around the house with a knife and down the street. My God, that never happened. I never caught him with anyone. She made up stories. He moved out and he's still at home to go out with her. I was going down to Blaylock's church, and this little old lady said, I heard your husband left you. I said, my husband, I mean, I don't know where he got that. He never left me. And then she's arguing, I heard you're in denial. I said, ma'am, I don't know where you got your information. My husband never left me. She said, I heard you won't accept it. I said, ma'am, he goes to work every day, comes home, and he's home every night. And I'm arguing with her. In 2011, 2012, I was working at Woodforest in Maslin. Dave's waiting for me to get off work. She walks up and looks at Dave. I'm so glad you came back to Karen. He said, what is she talking about? I said, that's one of the lies. You left. I said, ma'am, I tried to tell you that everything was a lie. Everything. She's like, I don't care who you are in that church. You can't lie like that. You know, they told everybody in 2018, 2019, this time, for everything's a lie, for everything's a scam. It is. Now, think about, and like I said, where they set up Agent John to be arrested, they did that perfectly. What they did to me is Twilight Zone. Twilight Zone. I mean, think about this. Special permission stocking tapes, the law is if attorney sets up button cameras in your home, they are to be disbarred and criminally charged with a felony evasion of privacy, cyberstalking, illegal monitoring, and voyeurism. It's being a sex offender. They can't drug anybody. Oh, they had permission to drug her to get the truth out. No, they didn't. Fake sodium pentothal reports hypnotic drugs and told us that hypnotic drugs put you in the state of being hypnotized. Where they brag they use that on me. I looked it up. You never form a real memory of it. You're wide awake. You can talk, eat, you can even have sex with someone. You can drive a car. But it's like sleepwalking. You never form a memory. You can cook, you can do everything. And no memory of what you're doing. That's the mind-controlling drugs they were using on me. To drug me up and tell me to say stuff. I don't think they're funny. Breaking in private homes. Selling little children on porn sites. And breaking they did. Going to the bathroom. Selling me and my family on porn sites. Having men drug, beat, and rape me under drugs. And I'm blaming the orange well water that I showered in. And these people run around calling me stupid because I never left my home. I never seen anybody. And the only thing I did is take a shower, dry off, and get in bed. Wake up with giant bruises, throwing up, infected. And the only thing that was supposed to have touched me was the dirty well water. And like the doctor said, it actually makes sense. Because if that well water had a severe toxin in it, it would have made you that sick. I said, well, I had different types of iron. That wouldn't do anything. But if it had a severe toxin in it, it would have caused all that. So I'm not as stupid as you guys are. And here I'm being drugged, being raped. I don't think Katie's family is funny for her made-up lie, do you? And the whole time, they're trying to get that agent to defraud me so they can get him arrested. And they can get everybody released that was arrested off this, and then they can sue the government for illegal arrest under fraud. They needed him to open that fraud case. They needed him to defraud me. That's where people today, nobody thought it was funny when we found out this whole thing was them just wanting them to open a fraud case so they could get thrown out so they could sue the government for money. That's the only thing. You got to think how ridiculous it is. They walk in with stalking tapes, admit that they're drugging me for fake confessions, photoshopping, washing, having me beat and raped. They've been trying to murder me because some idiot called me a faker 15 years before, and some fat, ugly girl said she threatened me, and I hadn't talked to her in 7 years, and only said hi. Huh? Think about that. And so they should be able to kill me and have me drug, beat, and raped. They told a federal cop and he didn't arrest them because they're that stupid. And then they have, now, your doctor can never talk about you without your consent. They cannot tape you unaware. It is a federal crime, HIPAA. They cannot share your medical records. An attorney cannot go fishing for information, approach a hospital or a doctor, unless they are representing you in a dog bite. You have to, or a car wreck. You sign consent, picture ID, and they have to sign consent and picture ID for the doctor or hospital to release only the injury that you personally had to that attorney to represent you for that injury only. Not everything, just that. And they have to get you verbally recorded, also releasing it. So you don't have that. They don't talk about nothing. It is a federal crime of HIPAA, and it's 10 years for each occurrence. So, like they said, these people didn't know how illegal it was to say they had a doctor. And they can't have a doctor put opinion on me. That's not mine. You know, and think about that. A dirty doctor breaking HIPAA in it with people saying they're trying to kill me and have me drug, beat, and raped. Because some idiot called me a faker and another person said, oh, she threatened me. And they think they can kill people over it and harm them. No, they should have been arrested the first day. It's so Twilight Zone. But they wanted him to defraud me. Where some old ass even showed up the first month of the case, and we now have a police order to surveillance her. We'll get her doing crimes. We'll get her. We can get her now. He has it set up that we can go after her. He can't go after me. Being his informant, I'm under government protection. I am in government immunity. And see, that's where by 2019, they were looking for legal loopholes. That agent told on her before he talked to her. It's a big legal loophole. He bullied her on the phone. He didn't pay her. He left her here. And he bullied her on that phone call. And admitted on that phone call, he told on her. He didn't pay her. He was defrauding her. And they started up again last year, how they were going to get him arrested. He didn't pay her. She's either a paid informant and he defends her and defends this case, or he was defrauding her, had no right around her. See, these people had no right around me. It is a fraud scheme. And everything caught under surveillance has to be thrown out. Every drug dealer that was ever arrested has to be released, and they're going to sue the government for false arrest under fraud for millions of dollars. See, that's what they wanted, him to defraud me. And where that lady said they're sending out that email, the recording of that agent bullying her, and you could tell they taped over parts of it, but him bullying her and to say you're lying or else I'll arrest you and and laughing at her, pure evil, and saying not to help her, not to believe her. Nobody thought that was funny. And you need to find out who was in the courthouse September 10th, 25, saying they were Agent John, badmouthing me and trying to get his case thrown out against the cartel himself. You need to find out who the Stark County sheriffs are supposed to be going down to Virginia's restaurant, and that heavy-set waitress with the black hair and glasses that is trying to get the case thrown out. In 2024, I seen the bad people from the case down there. The ones that Druxen told to say it, they're fake law enforcement. Okay? I extremely doubt the Stark County sheriffs are crossing county lines to get an FBI case thrown out. That is federal prison. And that waitress has a big mouth running to everyone in town. The police said she's the biggest liar. When the police up here tell everyone Karen's never lied to us once. She can't. We have it all under police surveillance. Wouldn't do it anyways. And what was it, May 14th or something like that of 24? I'd have to look it up. Of the officers that worked the case said it's ridiculous for anybody to insult her. She almost died to save children. They always knew she was drugged and told to say it before, and the tape of Weird With Yourself is photoshopped of washing in the shower in the other room, and they photoshopped it and everything else. And it was just a scam. And she almost died to save everyone, and it's ridiculous for anyone to ever insult her. And that they always knew that. Okay, so Officer Mark, Officer John, you need to find out who's been trying to get the FBI case thrown out in Carrollton. Talk to that waitress that runs her mouth to everybody in town like she's so big that the police have to come tell her everything. And why don't you tell her I'm an FBI informant? Almost died to save my family. Part of a big case, and people are trying to get it thrown out. And she almost died to save her family. And she never lied once. And go talk to the Carroll County sheriffs. You want those emails. Find out where they came from. And set them straight. And the Tuscarawas County sheriffs. And then the courthouse. It's a need to know if you don't want that case thrown out. These people sold the login years ago. Back in 18 for Will found another way of making money off the case. He sold the login for $25 a pop. You know, it would be great to get the money I earned helping the FBI get all these people. My son John, like I said, he started a church. I'd like to help him in his church. I'm very proud of him. I like to help Josh. I like to help Crystal get a car so she can go to college. I like to help Danny because he took on that big debt helping Carl. And I would like to retire, and I need a medical card from all the injuries I got, and a new name and social for me and Carl. A letter of thank you would be nice. But, you know, if Agent John doesn't do the right thing with way they're going after him, he will end up in jail. The case will get thrown out. The government will get sued. And the only thing to stop it, he just has to do what's right. He has to pay me and then defend me. It's a lot cheaper than millions of dollars of lawsuits. You know, Jen said, well, I hope that agent didn't drink the grape juice, Karen. She said, you know why they don't leave undercover agents, undercover police officers undercover too long? Because the line of right and wrong becomes blurred and they become the criminals. And I hope that agent didn't become the criminal. Because they are going after him hot and heavy right now. You know, and I had some idiot call me fat today. You know, I've gained like 10 pounds. My weight and the way I dress is none of your business. And when you guys learn to stop being mean teenagers and just keep your snotty comments to yourself and worry about your own attitude and check yourself. You know, you can be the most beautiful thing on earth, and if you're an evil, awful person, you're repulsive. Absolutely repulsive. I'm going to go ahead and upload this, but it's a lot. Every day I go out, and that church thinks it's funny. They think these people in this area are fucking retards. They're fucking retards. That a church can actually have this done to someone. Everybody ought to be on FBI submitted tips, sheriffs, Stark County Sheriff's.com. There's a email. You can email them. You ought to be on NSA, drop down to OIG, contact, send them the login to the case. Let's see, the CIA, contact them. Do all that. Because the more people that witness, White House, contact the White House, drop down to the president, email him. Get that church stopped. They're not funny having people drugged, beaten, raped. And Katie's family and that Michelle being just her niece, and it's her mom, Mary, Anita's her sister-in-law, Pam's Strange's niece, and them running the biggest con with drug dealers, that Henry Mafi's Michelle's dad. And it's that church running a con with the drug dealers. Strange hated the government when he was alive. The government's evil. It'll brainwash your kids. The government is evil. They'll take your kids away from you one day. The government is evil. They'll take your guns and you'll have to bury them in the backyard in pipes. A low-educated minister that hated the government. My brother-in-law, Craig, worked for the, I can guarantee he thought he was FBI, because the way he described himself from a private consultant for the FBI, unrestricted, did war weapons, spyware, traveled the whole world undercover, and I worked for Dick Cheney at the Pentagon. My one boss is a spook. If you look up who works at the Pentagon, it's DIA agents. With his boss being a spook, and he went undercover, he probably was a spy for the government too. Going undercover on missions for 30, 60 days at a time, no contact. Hard to tell him what he was doing for the government. But he hated Craig. Craig thinks he's so big. Having my son out there to visit them, they're not even married, living that wild lifestyle. And he thinks he's so big working for the government. So taking down an FBI agent would be like slapping Carl in the face. I mean, sorry, Craig in the face. See what I mean? He hated them. Hated the government. So him pulling a fast one on the FBI had to be a thrill for that low-educated minister, and thinking he was going to get his family to steal millions of dollars from the government and set them up. Be like setting up Craig. When you start thinking how evil this is, and evil, and nothing but pure evil, it's like hell has erased everybody's mind and soul, thinking things that are funny aren't, harming people. You know, at a Oakland apartment, December 9th, 21, 4 p.m., they told him all the tapes before with them and not mean it's just a bunch of men doing crimes down here to see if someone will stop him. He told me before Christmas of 21, he said, I swear the COVID virus has damaged people's brains around here. They think things are funny that aren't. And it's like it created a mass mental illness. You know, where these people say an attorney's going to try to make sure she can't have a job. She can't drive a car. They can't interfere in my life. It is a federal crime. They can't go to my boss. They can't go to my neighbors. They can't interfere where I work, what I do, who I see. Those are federal crimes. When you get into that big a deal of stalking, cyber stalking, illegal monitoring, and when an attorney thinks that they can try to steal people's medical records and break HIPAA, when they think that they can, I doubt the person's even a doctor, because Dave said it was just that guy. When Danny asked him April 16, 23, across the parking lot, I heard him tell Gabe, I asked Dad what on earth is going on. He said he had hired some guy named Pete on his own. It was Pete and his men in her home. Before Pete has her frame, Pete has her tape, the filthy, dirty statement. Not a doctor. Just that guy he hired. The investigators have called him a serial rapist and drug cartel. Now think if a rapist did this. Drug cartel. Now you start thinking how not funny this is. It's not my doctor. It'd be time for a new doctor, having a Jack the Ripper rapist doctor. I'm going to go ahead and upload this, but think how dumb they are. They don't know HIPAA. They don't know the right of privacy. No attorney can do this. And Dave said it was just that guy Pete he hired on his own. He can't hire someone to harm me. It's hiring a hitman. And that guy, if he was an attorney, he can't go around bad-mouthing me to cops. That's stalking. He has no right. He has no right, oh, he's going to help the police. He can't do that. He can't intervene in anything. He can't be involved in anything. We're going into federal crimes of obstruction to justice and tampering with evidence and witnesses. And an attorney cannot insult an FBI informant. Neither can the police, neither can the prosecutor's office, and neither can a judge. They are federal crimes of 20 years. See what I mean? But these people have impersonated my mother, me. They have impersonated Danny and Jen that they were supposed to report the tape of Weird with herself. They didn't even know about it. Refused to have anything to do with it. And it's a shower scene in the other room. And then they had somebody impersonate John. Told you, June 13th, 14th of 25, they found out they were having some guy impersonate John, and John lives in Florida. Well, they had somebody impersonate my mother, go with Dave, bad-mouthing me. My mom's lived in Illinois since 2003. She would never be with Dave. John would never be with these people having his mother drugged, beaten, raped, and murdered to steal from the government. None of my kids would. See what I mean? December 1st, 25, Walmart 62. We found out this whole thing was a scam to extort money from the government. Michelle came. There's another Michelle with long blonde hair. Been telling all of them. And her ex-husband was involved. And the doctor from before was not one of hers. Works for them. And they had lied. He was one of her doctors. She actually don't know who he is. It would be time to get a new doctor if you had a Jack the Ripper rapist doctor. Not my doctor. And that guy Pete, Dave Is some guy Dave hired on his own. She don't even know who he is. They admitted to using hypnotic drugs when they drugged her and told her to say it before. And it's a shower scene of washing yourself in the shower in the other room. And it's photoshopped and everything's photoshopped. And it's just a scam to extort money from the government. The whole thing. They just wanted him to defraud me. Now they're witness against him. They paid him off. And they're sending out those emails to get him arrested. A proof of badgering and obstruction of justice and tampering with a witness. They're going hot and heavy after Agent John. All you have to do is stand up for me and pay me, and then you can arrest him and it's done. But if not, the consequences of your actions, what these people are doing, I have no control. I only know what will stop them. And it's you doing what's right.